The air over North Texas carried an eerie stillness on the evening of September 21st, 2025. Residents of small towns like Olney, Strawn, Mingus, and the lakeside communities near Possum Kingdom Lake knew storms were predicted, but no one expected the fury that would descend. By mid-afternoon, the National Weather Service radar lit up with angry shades of red and purple. Meteorologists spoke urgently. A line of severe thunderstorms had intensified, carrying winds over 80 miles per hour, hail the size of baseballs, and the potential for destructive tornadoes. In Olney, sirens wailed as families rushed indoors. Parents hurried children into hallways and storm shelters. The wind began to scream through trees, ripping branches free and sending debris skittering across lawns. Within minutes, power lines flickered and died, plunging the town into darkness as the storm cloud swallowed the last rays of the sun. At Possum Kingdom Lake, boaters scrambled to secure their docks. The waves, whipped by furious winds, crashed against the shoreline, swallowing walkways and smashing into cabins along the water's edge. Lightning strikes flashed so violently they turned the entire horizon white, followed by thunder that rattled windows miles away. Meanwhile, in Strawn and Mingus, tight-knit communities nestled near rolling hills, the storm unleashed its worst. Sheets of hail pounded rooftops like sledgehammers, shattering glass and leaving cars dented and shredded. Roads became rivers within minutes as flash floods carved through neighborhoods. In every town, phones buzzed with emergency alerts. Take shelter now. For the people of North Texas, the storm wasn't just weather, it was a battle for survival. By early evening, the storm was at full strength. In Olney, the wind howled at hurricane force. Roofs peeled away from homes like paper, metal siding ripped free and tumbled down streets, and entire trees were uprooted. Families huddled in basements, praying the walls would hold. Emergency responders scrambled. Police radios crackled with urgent calls, collapsed houses, trapped families, fires sparked by downed power lines. But conditions were so dangerous, even rescue crews were forced to wait for lulls before venturing out. At Possum Kingdom Lake, the scene grew desperate. Docks were torn free, drifting across the water like wreckage. Families in lakeside cabins watched as waves smashed into their homes, shattering windows and flooding rooms. Some clung to life jackets as they rushed to higher ground, soaked to the bone by sideways rain and spray from the lake itself. Further south, in Strawn and Mingus, hail the size of fists shredded rooftops and stripped trees bare. Residents who had never feared storms before now crouched under mattresses and heavy blankets, shielding themselves from glass and flying debris. For some, it was the longest night of their lives, minutes stretching into hours as the storm raged on. Across the region, power grids collapsed. Entire counties went dark, save for the flicker of lightning. Cell service faltered, cutting people off from loved ones. Many had no idea how widespread the disaster was, or whether help would come in time. And yet, amidst the chaos, bravery shone. Neighbors carried the elderly to safety. Parents comforted terrified children. First responders, firefighters, deputies, volunteers ventured into the storm to answer calls for help, risking their own lives. North Texas was being tested, and its people refused to break. By dawn on September 22nd, the storm had finally moved east. But the damage it left behind in Olney, Possum Kingdom Lake, Strawn, and Mingus was staggering. In Olney, neighborhoods looked unrecognizable. Power poles lay snapped like matchsticks across roads. Vehicles were overturned, homes shredded. Families emerged cautiously, blinking at the destruction, clutching each other tightly. The local high school gym was quickly converted into a shelter, as volunteers served food and distributed blankets. At Possum Kingdom Lake, the shoreline was devastated. Dozens of boats had sunk, docks splintered, cabins reduced to wreckage. Yet amid the ruin, the human spirit endured. Neighbors with chainsaws and boats helped each other recover what little could be saved. Rescue crews searched the water for anyone stranded, pulling exhausted survivors to safety. Strawn and Mingus told the same story. Roofs torn away, windows blown out, streets buried under fallen trees and hailstones the size of fists. But already the communities rallied. Church groups, Local businesses and volunteers from surrounding towns arrived with water, food, and tools. Survivors hugged one another, tears streaming, grateful simply to be alive. The storm had broken power lines, torn apart homes, and left scars across North Texas. But it could not break the resilience of its people. Local officials promised rebuilding. Aid organizations mobilized. Families began the slow process of repairing not just houses, but lives. And everywhere you looked, stories of courage spread, of strangers rescuing strangers, of people opening their homes to the displaced, of survival against overwhelming odds. On September 21, 2025, severe storms hit North Texas with brutal force. But when the skies finally cleared, one truth remained. The spirit of Olney, Possum Kingdom Lake, Strawn and Mingus was unshaken. They had faced nature's fury, and they would rise again.